Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nolo Pududu and this is Study CTA with Nolo, where we get smart. So today I'm responding to a question that I have received. I'm becoming like content creators. Content creators, like a lot of you have been asking. Okay, so it's not a lot, it's just one person who asked. But somebody sent me an email and I thought, you know what, if I try to type out a response in email, it might also be a bit difficult to explain, to really get a clear message across. So I thought, let me create a video, and not only will it help her, but it might also help anybody else that has the problem. So it has to do with the whole doing questions at CTA level, right? I don't know if you guys remember, but last year sometime, I think it was last year, I posted a video where I was talking about what you should strive for when it comes to questions. And I called it the 70-30 rule. I said you should strive to spend 70% of your time on questions and 30% of your time on theory. So try not to go above 30% when it comes to theory, because most of you guys, I know most of you guys are spending a lot of time on theory. So what I'm saying is try get that percentage down to 30% of your time, and then try and increase the question time to 70% of your time. So flip it around. Most of us are sitting on the other way around. And that's what I call the 70-30 rule. I probably plagiarized somebody. I don't know. Okay, no, I haven't plagiarized somebody, but it's not the first time somebody suggests that you spend. I think I remember, like I said to you guys in the video, my lecturers recommended we spend about 75% of our time on questions, right? So it's not the first time somebody's talking about the amount of time you should be spending on questions. I've just called it the 70-30 rule, and so it's a thing. Okay, so stick with it. But now, this young lady, awesome CTA student who's going to pass, yes you are, she says she has a problem because she feels like, and I know most of you feel like that as well, probably because I did, she feels like she has to go through all of her theory and be comfortable that she's gone through enough of her theory before she can start doing questions. And guys, you know what? I get it. I had that conflict as well. But I want to share something with you guys, just to when I say do questions, I'm not telling you to close your brain off to learning theory. Okay, I want to share something with you guys. So as I've shared before, I used to work at the University of Pretoria. I used to lecture second year students. So lecturing second year accounting as a CA was pretty simple. It was really simple. It was fun, so it was good. It was really easy. There was nothing like intellectually challenging for me. It was fun, and I wasn't nervous or anxious. So when I used to prepare for class, it was easy for me to just, if let's say it was a topic that I hadn't looked at in a long time, having been in articles and working and stuff like that, I could just easily read the standard or read the textbook, and I'd be able to answer the questions. Okay, so even if I hadn't done the questions, I'd easily be able to answer the questions and not have any problems, like, because the level at which we are testing them, it was really, really, I could get it. It wasn't complicated at all. Then I got to, when I changed jobs and then I started lecturing CTA students, I was very, very anxious. I was very worried because I hadn't done accounting at a CTA level in a very long time. Mind you, I am CA already, but I haven't been handling that material in the manner that is required for a CTA student. So I've been reading the standards, but I hadn't been handling the material, the standards, in a manner that is required at a CTA level. You guys understand? So there is a reading of the standards, there's a highlighting of the standards, there's understanding the standards, but then there's the handling of the material in the standards, or if it's another subject like management accounting or auditing or tax, there's the handling of the theory that is required at different levels. There's a handling that is required at first year, second year, third year, and then at CTA, that's when we start feeling like it's very challenging. So I was very nervous when I got into CTA, and so my preparation time, I spent like a lot of time. And I mean, some of these topics I'd actually been lecturing, actually most of them I'd lectured before at second year level. I had all of them. So I knew the standards, okay? But when I needed to prepare for classes, like we prepare your tutorial letters and your study guides, we do that like well in advance, right? And then we prepare for class. When it was time for me to actually now start doing my work, I had to put in so much time doing questions to really understand what are the issues that we're addressing at CTA level. How are we addressing issues? What are we raising? I needed to do the questions. So the same questions that we give to you guys. So if you're a new student, that study guide and tutorial letter that we give to you guys to read through and then do questions, and then at the back we have questions. That is how I prepared to get myself back to that level of thinking at a back to the point where I'm thinking at a CTA level. So my comprehension and understanding of the standards was at second year, maybe third year. But I now need to start stretching my mind and start dealing with the material, with the theory at a CTA level. And I use the questions to get me there, right? So I would have the questions on one side, and then I'd have the what do you call that thing, the standards on the other side. I'd have a textbook, and then I'd read the question and I'd struggle through, and I'd write out the question and struggle through, and I'd fail some questions, yes. And then I'd go back and check and see what did I miss and go to the standard. So I'm still dealing with the theory, I'm still working with the theory, but I'm working with the theory at a CTA level. I hope I'm making sense. Okay, don't think I'm dumb because I'm a CA that had to go back and do questions to learn the standards, right? But what I'm trying to emphasize, guys, is that the CTA is more than just knowing the standards. You could spend your days studying the standards and knowing them, and you will still not be adequately prepared for the exams. You could know the standards, but not be adequately prepared for the exams because you have not allowed yourself to start engaging with the material at a level that is required for CTA. It's almost like I don't know if I've given a comrades. I don't know why I like giving comrades example, but let's just give comrades because my friend runs the comrades, okay? Well, not this, so she's not running. But anyway, it's like, let's say you want to run the comrades and you read about like what the comrades is all about. You read about the training that is required for the comrades, and you eat healthy for the comrades. You know, you eat healthy, you take your supplements, you even go to the gym and you do your running in the gym, okay? But like the comrades is like 90 kilometers, I think, something like that, 89. So in all your preparation, you're watching videos, you're watching, you know, all these things. In all your preparations, you never actually get on the road and run. So you do everything else, even the gym. So those are like your easy questions, you know, your study guide questions, the ones that are like simple. You do gym work, you lift, but you never get on the road and run. You don't run a 30, you don't run a 40, you don't run a 50 kilometer. You never do that. And then come the day of the comrades, you want to run the comrades. You know everything there is to know about the comrades, except you've never put yourself through that process, your body through the actual process of running and preparing for the comrades. All right. So you want to move from mental assimilation of what the standards say, but to actually practical assimilation of what are the standards really saying? What are the practical implications? How do I critically analyze this? What is happening? So if you only spend time reading, or you spend most of your time reading, it's good. You might be really good at telling people about the standards, but in terms of dealing with the material at a level that is required for CTA, you will not be able to do that competently. And at the end of the day, that's what we're preparing you for. That's what the whole, being a CA thing is about. It's not just about there's an IFRS standard, IFRS 15, that there's 5 steps and blah 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 blah. It's not about that. It goes deeper, and the questions help you to go deeper. So when I say to you, spend a lot of your time doing questions, I'm not saying you're going to ignore the theory. I'm asking you to engage with the theory at a level that's required for CTA. I've repeated that so many times. But yeah, so I know it's uncomfortable. And the other thing is that the biggest problem is that when you start doing a question, you don't know where do you start. Sometimes you really don't know. And when it comes to that, guys, I don't want you to be hard on yourself. I want you to just take a step back. Like I said, when I got back into lecturing CTA, I didn't, some of the stuff was like, there's a standard, the one on share-based payments. The last time I saw that standard was when I was doing CTA, which was years ago. So when I came back more than a decade later, that standard that standard was confusing when I was doing CTA, and it was even more confusing when I was lecturing now, So that standard was a tricky one for me. So I started by reading the standard, and then obviously it's still French. Then I did the questions in the study guide that and it started to make a little bit of sense. And then I started to try to do the questions in the tutorial letter, like the more test level questions, exam level questions. And some of them I couldn't answer because I didn't know what the answer was. So I went to the answer and then I checked, what are they doing? Like, what's going on? And then then I'd read the answer, and then I'd try and continue. And then when I get stuck again, I'd go. But the thing is, I would actually write the answer, right? I try and do it, then write and see, and then at the end I try and mark myself, and see how far I get. But point is, I didn't know what to do, so I went to go check, and then I came back, and that's okay, because I was starting out. As time went on, I was able to identify the issues. Obviously, when it was a new issue in that standard, then I had to do the same thing again. And there's nothing wrong with that, guys. Like, IFRS is not common sense. So you have to figure out what the right way is. And you do that by learning, doing questions, etc. When I was lecturing at a residential university, at UP, I used to teach my students a topic, okay? I'd teach the theory, and then I'd spend a couple of lessons doing questions on that theory. I would do the questions with the students, and they would learn with me. Then I would give them homework based on the questions that we'd done, a similar type of question. Again, if they'd just gone home and done the homework without somebody guiding them to see how are you supposed to approach this, they wouldn't have been able to do the work. They would have just been stuck, right? So I first had to give them that guide. So why am I telling you this? When you're doing your questions and you just don't know where to start, I know you guys, most of you guys, for CTA, first of all, you don't have as much contact with your lecturers. Even at a residential university, you just don't. And at UNISA, it's even worse. You just really don't have that much contact. And so you might not know how to start. It's okay to just check and see what are they doing. But what I'm saying is, when you check to understand, check to make sense of it, check the theory. So you're not just trying to see what the answer is and copy and move on. You're really trying to get into what is going on until you can become independent to a point where when you see a similar question, you're able to answer it confidently and you know exactly what to do, right? So it's a learning process. So the questions thing is not neglecting theory. It's handling the theory at the level that we want you to do for CTM. This video has been much longer than I really planned, and I feel like I babbled a bit here or there, but I really hope I'm making sense here, guys. So number one, when I say the 70-30 rule, I'm not saying you're throwing out theory. In all of your subjects, when you're doing questions, you have the theory right there with you. Number two, I know it's intimidating to do the questions because you just have no clue what to do. In a perfect world, I wish I could do online video tutorials, but I don't have the time. In the meantime, use your study guide. Use your study guide to see what are you supposed to do where you don't understand what to do. ask your lecturers, send an email, you know, saying, I see you did this over here, I'm not sure why, and then attempt the question yourself. So I'm not asking you to attempt the questions from a blank position where you know nothing and you really just don't know how to do this question, but I am asking you to attempt the questions. Once you figured out, maybe you see a framework of how to do the question, then you try to do it yourself, you know. Even if you do the question that you've done before and you try to do it yourself and see if you can now attempt to do it yourself and see what it is you understand, what it is you don't understand, and slowly you'll progress and you'll become more confident doing the questions, right? It's not going to happen overnight, but slowly you're just going to get better at it. But if you don't touch those questions, or if you touch the questions very little, it's like training for the comrades. There I go again, talking about running, which I know nothing about, but it's like training for the comrades where you know you're going to run 90 kilometers, but you only practice at 20 kilometers when you're training. It's not going to help at all. All right, so that is my suggestion. Let me know if I'm making sense in the comments. Until next time, bye bye.